This is a statue of St. Teresa of Avila. She grew up in the 1500s, and her father was a good man, but was also very strict. She, in turn, was a lively yet rebellious teenager who thought mainly about boys, clothes, and friends. When she was 16, she had given her parents so much grief that they sent her away to a convent. She hated it at first, but eventually began to enjoy her time there. It's because she began to know God and to actually feel His love for her. Eventually, when the time came for her to choose between an arranged marriage or the convent, she chose to remain at the Carmelite convent. Teresa was very human and had plenty of faults, but she was also an amazingly deep person who was profoundly close to God. Many convents at that time needed a lot of reform. Prestige depended not on piety, but on money, and there was a steady stream of visitors and parties that included young men. Teresa struggled because she was very charming, and she felt drawn toward a life of gossip and other trifling things. While those aren't big sins, she struggled to choose to pray and struggled to strive for a more meaningful life. If you struggle to pray, you should ask St. Teresa to help you. She hardly prayed for years, even as a nun, under the excuses of being too busy, getting donations from rich friends, or being sick with malaria for many months, or simply being a bad person who God wouldn't want to talk to anyway. Finally, when she was 41 years old, a priest kindly but firmly challenged her to return to daily prayer. Teresa said that at first, I was more anxious for the hour of prayer to be over than I was to stay there. She struggled a lot with distractions, and she said, "This intellect of mine is so wild that it doesn't seem to be anything more than a frantic madman that no one can tie down." But she persevered. Eventually, through many weeks and months of practice and trying to pray, she became very good at being with God. Take this advice from her about mental prayer. Mental prayer, in my opinion, is nothing else than the intimate sharing between friends. It means taking time frequently to be alone with Him who so loves us. It's important not to think much, but to love much, and so do that which best stirs you to love. Love is not a great delight, but instead a desire to please God in everything. Saints are just like you and me. They're sinners who keep on trying. Through her perseverance in learning how to pray, especially when she didn't feel like it, she grew so deeply and explored the heights and depths of the soul. She wrote the book Interior Castle, which is a fantastic book that I'm currently in the middle of. And in it, she describes each soul as a glass castle lit up from the inside, with God as the light in the center. It's an absolutely beautiful description of each of our souls, and I would very much recommend the book, Interior Castle. Now, from this interior reform of herself, Teresa was able to then go out and promote reform in the convent and in the world. Although she was met with fierce opposition, she was able to change her convent into one of a simple life of prayer, poverty, hard work, and cheerful trust. Everything became focused on God. Then she braved harsh travel conditions and harsh hatred from jealous priests and nuns who didn't like her difficult but very needed changes, as she went out to establish more convents and to spread her reform throughout the world. It took a lot of patience and asking God for strength to continue despite this. Teresa ended up founding many convents. She reformed the Carmelite order, and she continues to reform people's lives and spiritual lives today with her mystical writings. If you're having trouble praying, ask St. Teresa to pray for you, because she really understands that struggle. If Teresa can learn to pray and become a great saint, so can you. God bless you.